Sorry, a little late starting. I was having their legal city summit next week, and they wanted to have a discussion panel just over some of the challenges that cities were coming through, a variety of things in dealing with coming out of COVID and just all the other things that probably happened in the last 18 months. So I was on there, and we were set to have this discussion. But apparently we had one platform and we couldn't get one of the mayors to get on, and then the other platform, going back to Zoom, we couldn't get another one to join. So I just want you to know, at least your city was able to join on all platforms. We're going to have to reschedule that event at a different date. We'll figure out how to make that work, but appreciate your time and allowing us to move things back a little bit. But just sort of where we are, I'd like to recap a couple of things that happened last week. Obviously, it looked like I was not here for the Blue Angels, but I saw them on I guess Thursday flying out there over the bay, and I saw many. Andrew, I saw your post and some others post about the Blue Angel event on Saturday. So it looked like it was incredible. Friday looks like it was a little cloudy. Saturday looked like it was an amazing sky and everything. So it looked good. I know it was a little bit chillier than it is in June, but it looked like it was a great event. Foo Fest, also same thing, looked like it was good. The start of the first week. It will continue to be going on this week. There'll be another event and another movie on a different building. I think they're switching over to the Cultural Center. But seeing the one, I did see the one on Thursday night as it started, and I thought that did a great job. As I said, it's one of the things I'm most proud of, that I was certainly, I think the individual who moved the motion and got it started, the funding for Foo Fest. I will say that the first time David Baer came to me, he talked to me, and I said, David, this is the craziest idea ever, but because of you and I trust you, I will vote for this funding. And I'd still to this day tell David he actually made me look good. I think it's an incredible event that we have to see the kind of arts and culture that we have in a city our size and showcase, and are able to bring people from all over. If you had a chance to see the movie this past weekend, I thought it was very good. It reminded me a lot of the very first year they started it, and I'm looking forward to the one this weekend. I hear it's really the centerpiece of the Foo Fest, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I know there are many other options that are happening this week and this weekend in the community, even though the Gulf Coast Arts Festival is over. So again, hopefully you'll have a chance to attend those. One of the other things I attended last week was the PPD award ceremony. I just want to say, I continue to say this all the time, I am just humbled and honored to be a part of this city with men and women that do so much for our community. If you were a part of that award ceremony, to hear the things that had happened, that our police officers did with the community, helping individuals, rescuing individuals, and that's just for the last couple of months. I mean, every one of these we do a quarter has the same kind of story. It's just amazing things that happen. And it's easy sometimes for us to take that for granted because it happens, and these people do wonderful, incredible things. But I think it is important that we take time to recognize the actions that they do. And all of the award recipients were so incredibly worthy, including we had some citizens that we recognized, and a Marine officer who was jumped into the water when that car drove off the Maritime Park, and just, I mean, when you listen to the stories, they're just simply amazing. So it was great to see, and it reminds me every day the quality of the people we work with in this city, and the job they do for our citizens is just amazing. I want to say this week is certainly a chance for us to recognize a number of individuals, certainly in this community. This is a veterans community, and this is going to be Veterans Day. So I think Pensacola always looks its best when we have military holidays, recognition holidays, and certainly we are very thankful for our veterans, some of whom are in this room, I see. So we certainly appreciate their service, and we appreciate everyone's service to our country. Certainly a community that's so tied to the military. Really almost every branch of the military service we're tied to in one way or another, but certainly having NAS Pensacola here in the Navy, we certainly appreciate all those. We will be closed, the offices will be closed on the 11th in observance of Veterans Day. That'll be the City of Pensacola Administrative Offices, City Hall, and the City Pensacola Community Resource Centers. The exceptions are Osceola Golf Course and Roger Scott Tennis Center will remain open. Sanitary service changes. There will be no change to sanitary scheduled customers who are receiving Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The only change will be Thursday customers, and myself, you'll be picked up on Friday. So our Thursday customers will actually receive sanitation service on Friday, November 12th. This applies to Pensacola, City of Pensacola sanitation customers only. In other words, if you have a black trash can, this applies to you. If you're a Thursday route, you will be picked up on Friday. So Thursday we will be having the parade downtown, and then of course we will have the event at 11 o'clock at the Veterans Park. The parade, I believe, is at 10 o'clock. Just confirming. I think I saw that was at 10 o'clock downtown, and we'll go along Main Street and terminate at the Veterans Park for the 11 o'clock event. Also, seeing back there, I see Brian Cooper, which I'm excited about the process of planting 300 trees for the tree refurbishment plan and the goal of replacing trees that were lost in city parks during Hurricane Sally, helping replenish Pensacola's tree canopy for future generations. The planting will take place from December of 2021 through February of 2022 in the city's city-owned parks in all 7 districts. The city's tree refurbishment plan kicked off on Arbor Day 2021 by planting 2 trees in Parker Circle. More information about the city's tree refurbishment plan will be shared in the coming months as the plan is implemented. Stay tuned to the City of Pensacola website, Facebook, or for announcements. The City of Pensacola, first, there is a short film premiere on Wednesday. I guess this is part of FUFU. The City of Pensacola will be having a special premiere of the film Tides of Change. It's hosted by Escambia County IFAS Extension and Place SLR. The event will begin at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, November 10th at the Hunter Amphitheater and Community Maritime Park at 301 Main Street, which is right on the other side of the baseball stadium. Tides of Change is a short film about enhancing the impact of sea level rise in Northwest Florida and how residents can support community flood resiliency. An open house with an interactive table of activities is on display. Will begin at 4 o'clock, and the premiere of the movie Tides of Change will happen at 6 o'clock. So hopefully you'll be able to attend that. Also, a City Council special meeting will be happening on Wednesday, November 10th at 5:30. City Council will hold a special meeting on the Homeless Reduction Task Force recommendations for ARPA funding proposals and the final recommendations to City Council. The meeting will take place right here in City Hall, but down at the Council Chambers. So if you are interested in that, please attend. The four-way stop at 9th and Romana has been placed in. It is now in place, and the stop signs are being used. It is a four-way stop, which should enhance the safety for walkers, bikers, and cars. Right now, it's really sort of a three-way stop because one way is still being worked on with the park, but hopefully that should be finishing this week, hopefully if weather provides. So I know they've been working to get that sewer connection, stormwater connection done. So again, that four-way stop is in place now. The four-way stop is there. I actually used it this morning, came down 9th Avenue, stopped there, and it should enhance people being able to get across from the neighborhoods right there on the west side of 9th to over to the park on the east side. So again, this is just another way the city is trying to enhance pedestrian movement across the community. So we hope you will see that and take heed of that. COVID-19, the county has a positivity rate of 3.4, which is down from 4.9 last week. Again, we continue to see these numbers coming down. I think this afternoon I'm on a planning call with the county and the hospitals, continuing to see if we see a further surge. So we will continue to monitor that and see what happens. But at this time, we still seem to be seeing low hospitalizations, low transmission, low positivity rates. So all of those things are good, but we are continuing to be vigilant on that. The location for next week's press conference, we will be having moving press conference. We will have one next week that will take place at the Port of Pensacola at 9:30. Be limited to media and invitees only. We will be sending out an email this week on the details. We'll be focusing on both the Port of Pensacola and the airport and the changes that we've seen the things that are happening for the port and the airport. And so we will be there next week to go over some of those things and really kind of share the success and let you ask some questions if you have questions about the port and the airport. And they kind of want to show off some of the successes they're having. We also are going to have the next one, I think, when we come back, will not be the week of Thanksgiving, but the week after, and we're going to do that at sanitation. So I think we're still working on that, but Casey will get with you details on that. That's a little bit about what we have. I'm now happy to answer any of your questions, but excuse me for 1 second. All right, happy to answer your questions. Andrew.
Since John Peacock's proposal for looking at a charter form of government for the county would involve 2 representatives from the city, 1 from the mayor, 1 from your office, I was curious if you've had a chance to look at it yet and what you thought of studying that concept.
I haven't seen anything. Did the commission pass it at the most recent one?
No,
okay.
He's bringing it tomorrow, and he just wants a 25-person study group for a year to look at the idea.
I mean, we can certainly look at it. You know, I think there are some challenges I've mentioned before. You know, that I just think there are going to be some difficulties in how that's going to be put together and what's going to be achieved by it. I think in some ways, I think the system that's there. We certainly did that at the school board recently. We moved as a community to move away from an elected office, which sometimes brings politics into that level. Having operated at the commission before, I mean, I'm just going to speak to it. I'm not speaking to it as the mayor, but I'll speak to it as my former experience as a county commissioner. I just think it's going to be challenging to deal with in some ways. And I think the commission certainly works, and if you can hire the right person and figure out how to make things work with personalities, I think it's a much better system that they currently have than going to one that brings further politics into it. And maybe if we not had the last maybe 18 months, I'm less convinced that having more politics in local government is a good thing. I'm convinced if you want to start fighting about things that are at the national and state level, then we're wasting our time as a community. We need to be focused on what moves Pensacola forward, what moves Escambia County forward, and I think that's probably the more important positions we need to be focused on. But if they need somebody to look at it, we'll certainly go forward from there and evaluate what's there. But I think there are so many challenges that will be there. I think the county is very diverse, and the 5 districts represent them very well. I think it'll be very interesting to see if you're trying to think one person's going to somehow wrap up Escambia County that is very challenging and diverse as it is. I think, you know, certainly the city of Pensacola has that, and all 7 districts that we have are slightly different, but I don't think you see nearly the width of diversity at the city in those 7 districts as you do. I mean, you go from the beach all the way up to farms. It's a much wider range. I mean, generally the city is pretty much, it has different characteristics, but generally within terms of development, it's all generally the same. I mean, you know, what we're looking at. So the wide diversity at the county level just makes it very difficult for me to see how that will be applied and would be better than what we currently have. Jeremy. Again, I would say the task force, it's their recommendations. I mean, the city has tried not to say what's going to be there. The only thing I think that we've ever asked for, that I know that I've ever asked for from the city standpoint was the Lotus project, which they will be in town this week, and I will be meeting with them later this week and discuss some things that they're looking at. But that's the only thing that I think the city's ever recommended or thought one thing or the other. It's really been the recommendation of those individuals that are already involved in dealing with homelessness. To me, they seem like the subject matter experts and really should be leading us as far as what we do and communicate what needs to be done. There has been some discussion that in the latter parts of this, that because they were bringing forward recommendations to the council, that be opened in that process, and so they have been. I believe their last one was in here. It was televised. Minutes were taken. All the other parts that were supposed to comply with Sunshine. So
the only Sunshine meeting?
I think that was the discussion by which we had the attorney had indicated that they thought they needed to be operating within there. But again, this really is a private sector. In much of the way, this is private sector coming together, making recommendations. But again, I think we have asked, our attorney asked that they come forward, and the group complied and went forward from there.
When exactly did the city ask the task force to get involved with the $3 million? And then can you explain the rationale why at that point Sunshine wasn't thrown into place?
I mean, if it was the government doing it, the Sunshine is related to the government. I mean, I think there's a very thin line that the attorney is standing on, but I understand where he's going. But at the same time, there's no guarantee, Jeremy, that any of these will be funded. If the council funds them, the council makes that choice to fund them. It is the council's choice. This is not a automatic, simply the council is a rubber stamp and that's all they do. The council's welcome to fund or not fund. I mean, they'll make their own independent votes. If other people bring stuff to us, if John Peacock brings an idea, I don't believe any of the meetings John's had have been in the Sunshine. Yep, he's bringing an idea to us. We're going to get involved in it. We're going to put people on there. We're going to do something. So at some point, the way these things work is there's a lot of general discussion that happens beforehand. The way it is, if public money is going to be attached or something, that's when we look at that stuff. We discussed it. I think it was April when the city voted with ARPA, because we didn't get ARPA until about March. I think it was April or May we had that vote that said we were going to at least, looking back there, it was actually about June, wasn't it, Lawrence? June, okay. It was June before we actually had the vote. So about June is when the vote came down that we were going to put something together. And of course, they came forward with recommendations in discussion in September, but it doesn't appear any of those recommendations and where that was even going even are going to fit the final format. So again, I think whenever you have this, the stuff that's in the public should always be here. But discussion, things that happen, they have the ability. These are private enterprises. These are private entities. They certainly have the right to come up and figure out their own ideas and have those discussions. So from that standpoint, I think it's there. And once they come to the public on the 10th, we'll be having those discussions. But I mean, up until now, we're talking about changing the charter of the county. Nobody's met publicly on it. It hadn't had any vetting from other public entities. I don't think it should. I think it's a long way from saying that's a given if it's going to happen or not going to happen. The way I kind of read it is if the body is doing something that is essentially going to be recommended and rubber stamped, then it needs to be public and Sunshine. This is going to be the council's choice. Council can do whatever they want to do, and obviously there are going to be some fairly contentious issues that are on the vote, and I have no idea what they'll approve. The only thing I personally would like to see get done is Lotus, but I think we do need to do something more with the movement, because we are going to have to move the individuals at I-110 by the first of the year. So, I think we still have some time to do that. I know when I've talked with Andrew before, you've talked about keep trying to meet the Thanksgiving deadline. I've said it's hopefully that's what Connie wants to do, and if she can make it on that deadline, that's all great. But I mean, my realistic deadline is more the first of the year.
What is the contingency if we don't have any places available? There's hubbub about the Houston Avenue site. There's a little bit of dust up about the Halifax site. What if you just don't have anywhere to take them in January? Construction is supposed to begin.
We'll try to figure out with what's due and available. I think those are the challenges that will run with anything. But I think that's also why we have zoning, and if these are private entities and private concerns that have the ability to do this, then hopefully they'll get started and they'll see what they can do. I mean, and Waterfront Mission has a mission. They have stuff there. It didn't have to get done from the city or the county. They went to an area that was zoned for that and were able to be there. So again, these are the challenges that will come down that the council will have to make decisions on.
Speaking of the homeless, it's
Yeah.
been suggested that some people believe, that since the city does so much for the homeless community, it's drawing more of these people here. Do you have anything to say to that?
Well, my only thing is, I've said for a long time that to simply ask the City of Pensacola to be the only entity that is doing anything for the homeless is the City of Pensacola cannot afford to absorb all the homeless in Northwest Florida. That's an unrealistic expectation. We're going to put forward what we can. We're going to partner with the agencies that do, and then that's what we're going to basically work with from there. I will say this thing got started back when we had the spike about a year ago. At that particular time, we were having significant conflicts with downtown businesses and other places. I will say, as it went into beginning, we actually saw fewer conflicts with some of those people. I got fewer and fewer emails. I can tell you, Deborah Dunlap, her Facebook page ended dramatically on the confrontation she was having with homeless. I'm not saying that's gone. Everything is ever since then has never had a problem, but again, it did address a lot of the problems we began to have. We actually also placed a number of those individuals. Well over 50 people were placed out of the camp into home conditions. Obviously, the challenge is that of the 50 sort of original people that got going, we moved them, and yes, we brought in 100 more. I think there's a question as to whether we just brought more people in, or those people were already here in Northwest Florida, and then they felt like they had a place to go. I think both of those arguments are a little true. I think a lot of these people were already here, which is one of the reasons I think it's kind of funny. People say, well, I don't want the homeless in my area, and yet they don't know that they're probably homeless, especially if there are any woods nearby. They're probably homeless living in those woods right now. A lot of those individuals came out of the woods living in neighborhoods because they felt like they had a safe place to go. That's one of the reasons we would like to work with some of the organizations that are really, I think when you looked at the stuff that Dr. Marbut talked about, he talked about your homeless that you have here in Northwest Florida. You need to take care of those people. They typically have family here, they're connected here, and with their family and connections, they will actually be more likely to recover. I think those people, there's actually absolutely some of those people that are a part of this, and that's what we want to do. At the same time, there are absolutely people who've come here from outside the area. I think as this winds down and we move forward from there, those individuals will have to make a choice either to go into some of these programs with other people that they think they can find a way to turn around. Although when I was here with Mr. Marbut, Dr. Marbut, he expressed that it was significantly more difficult for a homeless individual to come out of homelessness if they had no family support. He said if you have no family support, the best thing you can do for a community is work with them to buy them a bus ticket and get them back to the place where they're from, because they're not going to have that support system. So they can try some of the programs that we'll be working here and see if those can help them get out of homelessness. If those can't help them get out of homelessness, then probably they do need to go back to a place where they have family support. But we have homeless right here in Pensacola that we got to take care of. And I think our ability to take care of those that have roots and support systems in Pensacola, we can. And I think we should, and we should be doing that. If somebody's coming from outside the area, your challenge with homelessness isn't going to get cured here just because you're in Pensacola. You really need family support. You need other type of support system, people around you that can do it. And the city of Pensacola cannot lift everybody's homelessness. We can't. So I think that's what we'll be working on. We hope the task force will work on. But I would also say the city of Pensacola, from our staff, from myself, and from even the council members, I'm proud of the fact at least we tried. I mean, show me another entity in 150-mile radius that's really trying to do something. I mean, outside, you get to 200, you get to Tallahassee. I think Tallahassee's fairly effective, but I don't know anywhere else in this area of Northwest Florida that's trying and putting forward the effort that we're putting forward. John, you got anything?
Here, Triumph Gulf Coast has been very generous to the city of Pensacola. But recently, even Chairman Gates and the CEO of Innisfree Hotels said publicly last week that they're not doing enough. Do you think that Triumph could do more? Given that they've been very generous to this city.
You know, I would say I was very involved with a model that would have probably brought more of the funding directly to locals than the model that was chosen by the states that ended up getting in the suit, which created Triumph. But at least in Triumph, and what happened with the state and what Senator Gates was very good at doing was at least blocking that off and making sure it was still coming here. There are some things I get. I think there's a desire to have transformative projects occur out of that funding that are going to move not just Escambia, Pensacola, Okaloosa, or any individual county, but really Northwest Florida forward. I commend the thought process on Triumph to find those, but I do think they need to be a little bit wider in the net they cast. They've got a very narrow net, which makes it very challenging for some of the entities to work. But we've certainly worked that way. I think what we've done with the aviation side with ST has been, is going to be transformative for not just Pensacola, it's going to be transformative for all of Northwest Florida. I think some of the ports have done this as well, and we're hoping to submit soon something from the Port of Pensacola that will help our port as well. I think the education systems have done well and been able to gather some benefit out of that. I know that I think ST and either George Stone or Pensacola State are going to be moving forward with an ask to deal with some educational requests that will really be workforce training. So I think there's some things that have been very successful. I do think it would be better if Triumph could be a little bit more wider in what they're thinking of. I think that would be, if they could look at some of the, if it's making a true impact in the community and it's helping raise the community forward, I think those things can work. And that's all I would ask them to necessarily do. I think it's a system that has worked and can work further, but I agree should probably be a little bit more open. They're fairly narrow in their focus, and I think they really could broaden a little bit, John. That would be good. Jeremy.
Yeah, I wonder if you knew the current vaccination rate for city employees and how any kind of federal mandate.
I can tell you from a state mandate, the state pretty much says we can't do anything, so we will continue to work as best as we can to encourage people. I believe.
Federal override the state or no?
You tell me. We'll see what happens. I guess until we have that court case that kind of tells us what to do, we're sort of stuck. But I think we've been in the 60s, approaching 70.
We're about 60.
Okay, I thought we were over 60. So
I think we are. We just
yeah.
did the last round last week.
Yeah.
So,
We're still offering the incentive. This, I told y'all, we go through November. Ted recently sent something back out and reminded all the employees that our incentive program, this is going to be the last time. They did do the first level of shots this past week, and they'll come back, I think, the first week in December and do the second round of shots. So again, if that's the case, then that would be the end of what we were going to be doing on our side. But I was thinking. We were what I've been told before in numbers, we were 65 going to 70. Of course, there are retirements, there are new people brought in. That number can various, I don't have the exact number, but I think that was kind of, we were at 65 and our goal was to target 70, so I think that's what we were shooting for. And I just don't know where we are with people retiring, people coming on, and all those things. But Casey, we can get those numbers, can't we, and submit those to everybody? We'll look at that as your public record request, Jeremy. We'll get you that number exactly. All right, anything else? Well, thank you very much for being here today. Sorry we're a little bit late getting started, but please remember next week we'll be at the Port of Pensacola, and we'll be there to talk about anything within the city, but we really will be there to focus on the port and the airport, and we will give you a chance to address some of the things that are happening at both of those. Hopefully you'll have questions for them, and they're going to be there. Clark and Matt and Amy will be ready to host you on all things port and airport, and otherwise I will be there to answer any questions specifically to the city. So thank you.